Hey everybody, welcome in. I know this was kind of a last minute live stream. I actually just scheduled it this morning, got everything together and scheduled it this morning before I went to work because I won't be able to do a live stream Friday like I was going to. Excuse me. So I just wanted to jump on here right quick tonight and talk about some things. I did have some things that had come up in my news feed about some current cases that were going on in the news. So we'll talk about that and whatever else you guys want to talk about that I may have missed, which is probably a lot. I miss a lot of stuff. But anyway, it's good to see everybody here on a Wednesday. We made it to hump day already. This week has gone by fast. I don't know about for you guys, but for me it has gone by fast. And it was not a good hump day for me today. I've got a tire going flat on my car, so I have to take it to the tire place tomorrow. I had to go get my brother to air it up for me so I can make it home today from work. So I have to take it over. Hopefully it won't be completely flat by in the morning. So I have to take it over to the tire shop and see what's going on with it. But anyway, let me see who is here. Stormy is here. If she'll come up. Where's she at? Oh, she's up there. My computer is being slow as always. Good to see you, Stormy. Chris is here. Good to see you, Chris. Mustang says she will be back. Hopefully she makes it back. As far as here. There she is. Sorry. Once again, my farm signal is not the best tonight as usual. Good to see Far. Miss Farr says, I will be listening. I'm still unwell. I can't shake whatever it is I have. I hope you get to feeling better soon, Miss Farr. We'll be sending our thoughts, prayers, and good vibes your way. As always. I don't know why oh goodness. Anyway, yeah, Mustang made it back. Welcome back, Mustang. my touchpad for my computer is not wanting to work. It's running. Now it keeps switching tabs. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Now everything keeps disappearing on me on my computer. Anyway, it's going into a dumpster fire already, and we haven't even got started. Anyway, oh my goodness. Let me see who else is here. Miss Paula made it. Hello, Miss Paula. Good to see you. Thank you, Mustang, for getting in links. Yeah, Chris said it's better than nothing to do. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it is Earth Day today. Yep, Chris said happy Earth Day. Yes, it is Earth Day today. Yes, absolutely. Mustang says do all the things. It does help the algorithm. Mustang says she just went somewhere. I don't know where she went, but she made it back. All right, so before we get started with our cases, I do want to share once again a couple of our missing, still missing from Arkansas. So let me put myself in the corner here. Oh, no, wrong corner. What am I doing? That's not the one I wanted. Hold on. What am I doing? Well, that's not good. Lord, what did I do? There we go. I finally found the right one. Okay, so we have still have Kennedy Love is still missing since February 21st of this year, 2026. She is just 16 years old. She's a Black female. She is believed to be possibly in the company of a male named Davion. So if you have any information regarding Kennedy's whereabouts, contact the Pine Bluff PD. And once again, my creeper is covering up the, there it is. You can contact the Pine Bluff PD at 870-541-5300. We still have, there were no updates, except for the fact that maybe, unfortunately, something nefarious may have happened to Tavoris Thomas, but either way, he has still not, unfortunately, been found alive or deceased. So his family and PD are still looking for him. He's been missing since September 6th of 2025 from North Little Rock, Arkansas. 47 years old when he went missing, a Black male, 5 foot 8 inches tall, 138 pounds. He was dropped off in the Meadow Park area of Rose City, which is in North Little Rock. They said it's very unusual behavior for him to be out of touch with his family members. So if you do have any information, anything at all at this point, they are just looking for, needing. You can contact the North Little Rock PD at 501-758-1234. And as far as I know, Antonio Dickerson is still missing. I did find somebody had posted one thing on Facebook that possibly he had been found, but I've not heard from, read or heard anything from family or law enforcement, anything concrete about him being found. So I'm going to keep sharing him, but I will keep checking for updates on all these cases. But Antonio has been missing from Sherwood, which is in North Little Rock, Arkansas. He's a 34-year-old Black male, 5 foot 11 inches, 180 pounds. I'm trying to see when last time he was seen. So the Sherwood PD is requesting assistance in locating Antonio. His family has been unable to make contact with him for several weeks, so we don't have an exact date, just several weeks. It was believed that he was last seen at an area hospital, but he has since been discharged from the hospital. He does have mental health issues, so that makes it even more urgent. So if you do have any information regarding Antonio's whereabouts, or if you've seen him, heard anything about him, once again, no bit of information is too small. You can contact the Sherwood PD at 501-835-1425. And then we had, I forgot to check on an update, but yesterday, I believe, Luis popped up on my news feed. The Little Rock PD has asked for the public's help in locating 27-year-old Luis Monsalvo, last seen in Little Rock. He is 5'7" tall and around 250 pounds. Anyone with information regarding his whereabouts is urged to contact 501-371-4829. And then we had some good news, actually. I had made a post earlier about Alyssa Hammond, who had not been seen or had went missing from the Little Rock area. But when I did check for updates just right before I went live, the Little Rock PD has confirmed she has been found safe. And I did do an updated post that she had been located safe. So that is good news, because they're all scary, but that was especially scary because she had not been seen since the 21st, actually. But her car had been caught on the license plate readers, like at intersections, like going towards Oklahoma, but they didn't know if she was in the car. So that was, disturbing to say the least. But like I said, a happy ending on this one. She has been located safe. No other details were given, but that's all we need to know, is that she has been located safe. So we always like the ones with the happy endings. Absolutely. All right, so we got that taken care of. So we will get started. Like I said, I just had a couple of articles, some things that had come out, current stuff in the news that I just wanted to go over. Let me check your comments one more time before we get started. Oh, Mustang had to go for a bathroom break. I can understand. I can understand that. Oh, Stormy made it back. Welcome back, Stormy. Patriotism made it. Glad you could make it. Always good to see you. All right. So first we have, and you guys may have already heard some of these updates. I'm usually late to the game, but there's an update in the Hailey Athay. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. Athay or Athay case. She had been missing for over a year. But apparently skeletal remains, and this article is from newsnationnow.com. The link to all the online articles I use are, as always, in the description box. So feel free to read them, share them, whatever you want to do with them. But it says skeletal remains of woman 33 found by hikers over a year after her disappearance. And once again, it's not wanting to move. I don't know. I think there's something. Anyway, so, and this is from Portland, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Washington area. The remains of a 33-year-old woman who went missing in Washington over a year ago were found by hikers earlier this week, according to authorities. The Cowlitz County Sheriff's Office in Washington had first received a report on January 3rd of 2025 that Hailey Athay had gone missing. Hailey's family claimed that they had last seen her in Kelso, Washington in November of 2024. So almost a year and a half after getting the report, officials in Cowlitz County said residents hiking in the area came across clothing and a pair of bones, and they then called the police. The Cowlitz County Sheriff's Office wrote in a press release, a quote, they notified authorities and a photo of the bones was sent to a forensic anthropologist who identified the bones as human, end quote. The following day, one of the men who found the remains led a search party to the area that he had hiked the day before. And according to officials, nearly complete skeletal remains were located, as well as multiple items of clothing and personal belongings. A forensic investigator was able to confirm the remains belonged to Hailey using dental records. Police said the area where Hailey's remains were recovered had previously been noted as an area of interest in her disappearance, but they did not elaborate. Her remains were turned over to the county coroner's office to further determine COD. Officials say, obviously, the investigation is still ongoing. Hailey's mother, Nicole Brooks, speaking with local outlet KPTV, said that Hailey did have 3 daughters of her own. It's just so sad, so heartbreaking. And that the girls had been in the care of family and friends since Hailey had disappeared. Hailey's mom said, quote, "It's not that it was unexpected that this will be the outcome, but it certainly isn't what we wanted in our hearts," end quote. So yeah, it's just never obviously the best outcome. Obviously the best outcome is that the missing are found alive and well, but at least it, some form of closure. At least they can bring her home and lay her to rest. And I'm sure the forensic people will be able, hopefully be able to determine COD, just to give the family some answers, and just thoughts, prayers, and good vibes going out to her family, to her 3 daughters. Just such a heartbreaking case, heartbreaking. But let me see. Goodness, I don't know if I've got something on my touchpad on my computer, but it's not wanting to. Oh, so Stormy says she's trying to fix her phone. She'll be right back. I know, I'm always having problems with something or other. All right. So next, so we have this. I've been kind of following along with this one. The singer David, I think his full name is David Burke. The Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. I've been trying to follow this. Now, finally, apparently, he has been charged with homicide. Yes, Chris says prayers for the family and relatives. Absolutely. But apparently, finally, there has been some movement. Charges have been filed against David in a Celeste case. So this article came out. Let me find the right article here. One second. Oh, come on. Now everything, there it goes. Okay. So this article is from NBC News. It came out the 20th. I don't even know what today is. Anyway, it came out the 20th. Singer David charged with homicide and death of teen girl. And this one is definite trigger warning for anybody who has not been following this case. I need to put my creeper back up. With the trigger warning. Definite trigger warning with this one. So Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who's just 14 years old, was found dismembered in the trunk of David's Tesla car in September, more than a year after she was reported missing. So this is just a horrendous case. So singer David was charged Monday in the death of a 14-year-old girl whose remains were found in the trunk of his Tesla in Los Angeles in September, more than a year after she was reported missing. David, the 21-year-old singer, whose real name is David Anthony Burke, was arrested last week in connection with the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. He has pleaded not guilty, no surprise there, and his lawyers have vowed to fight the allegations. So from what the little that I've read, or, that I've tried to keep up with, I mean, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I know everybody's innocent until proven guilty. In my opinion, I'm of the opinion that he's probably the one that did it. Just from, I don't know if you guys have seen any of his so-called music videos, or have read some of the lyrics to his songs and some of the imagery that he uses in his videos, but it's very, very disturbing. I know it's labeled under art, but it's just very disturbing. But I mean, I've got to get caught up again, because I'm assuming they found some additional evidence and to be able to charge him. But I think at first they were having a hard time maybe trying to prove if he was the one that did it, or if maybe one of his associates had done it on his behalf. So I'm gonna have to look into, do some more research and see what exactly kind of evidence they have. But he has pleaded not guilty. Prosecutors filed charges of first-degree homicide, continuous abuse, SA abuse. I'm just gonna say SA abuse, and mutilation of human remains following a news conference Monday with Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Heuermann. Heuermann said, quote, "I'm a parent of 3 children, and a parent's nightmare is a situation where your daughter goes out one night and never comes back," end quote. Heuermann noted that prosecutors are seeking 3 enhancements to the homicide charges: lying in wait, financial gain, and taking the life of a witness to an investigation. Now, I understand the lying in wait and the financial gain part, but I don't know what and I'm assuming when they say, taking the life of a witness to an investigation, they have to be referring to Celeste. So I don't know what she witnessed. Anyway, so the district attorney alleged that Burke took the life of Celeste in an effort to maintain his career. And that Celeste, if I would have kept reading, I would have answered my own question. And that Celeste was a witness to the lewd and lascivious acts allegation being levied against the singer. So apparently maybe he was afraid that she was going to say something about what had been going on. So a criminal complaint in the case alleged that the SA of Celeste occurred, quote, on or between September 7th of 2023 and September 7th of 2024, while the defendant resided with him and had recurring access to the child, end quote. And it says Celeste would have turned 13 years old on September 7th of 2023. So, I mean, we're talking about a child. A child is just disgusting and horrifying. So the special circumstances mean that Burke may face life in prison up to a potential, the DP. A determination as to whether to seek capital punishment will be made at a later date, according to Heuermann. In court Monday, Burke stood with a stone-faced expression behind a glass partition. He was wearing a black hoodie as he entered a plea of not guilty, and a judge ordered that he be held without bail. Police found a Celeste on September 8th in the trunk of Burke's abandoned Tesla, which was impounded at Hollywood Tow. Officers were called to the impound lot over concerns about a foul odor emanating from the vehicle, and her body was found a day after what would have been her 15th birthday. So detectives learned that Celeste, a runaway from Riverside, California, was involved in a relationship with Burke, according to Los Angeles Police Chief Jim McDonnell. Celeste was last known to be alive on April 23rd of 2025 when she arrived at Burke's Hollywood Hills home before being found in September, according to the chief. So McDonnell, who I believe is the chief, said, quote, "The substantial amount of time that passed between her death and the discovery meant that crucial evidence had degraded or disappeared, and as detectives worked to uncover the truth, they also had to sift through and debunk a great deal of false information circulating publicly," end quote. So Celeste's COD was not made public. Last year, the medical examiner's office said that it could not release details about the cause and manner of her death because of a security hold sought by police. So Burke, or David, is accused of using, quote, a deadly and dangerous weapon, to wit, a sharp instrument, end quote, in the homicide, according to the criminal complaint. Heuermann told reporters Monday that his office intends to seek an order that would allow the medical examiner's office to release the report into the teen's death. God, I hope that some media doesn't get a hold, if they do release it, get a hold of it and release all because just the little that they have released is bad enough. But we all know what happens when when people do FOIA acts, and I'm not against the release of information, but in the wrong hands and depicted the wrong way for clickbait, we all know what happens, and it's just, anyway, it makes me want to scream. So Celeste was reported missing in 2024 from Lake Elsinore, which is southeast of Los Angeles, according to the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. Law enforcement sources told NBC News that when she was found, her remains were not intact. Officials said that it appeared that she had been deceased for an extended period before she was found, given the state of her remains. David was on tour at the time that Celeste's remains were discovered and canceled the rest of his performances after news about her death broke. A court filing in February showed that Burke was the target of a grand jury investigation, saying that Celeste, quote, may have been the victim of foul play, end quote. Both of his parents, Colleen and DeWood Burke, were ordered to appear on February 11th before a Los Angeles grand jury, according to court documents. So David's attorneys, Blair Burke, Marilyn Bednarski, and Regina Peters, said that they were prepared to, quote, vigorously defend David's innocence, end quote. So in a statement, as a statement said, quote, let us be clear, the actual evidence in this case will show that David Burke did not take the life of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he was not the cause of her death, end quote. So I'm sure they're going to bring in the alternate suspects theory or whatever, or defense. So attorneys for Burke requested an open preliminary hearing, saying they have received little to no discovery ahead of the arraignment on Monday. His defense added that it would like to see transcripts from the grand jury proceedings. The prosecution noted that a release of information from the grand jury required a motion to the court. Says there is more than 40 terabytes of discovery, so I'm assuming that's a lot. I'm not familiar. I've heard terabytes. I'm assuming that's a lot of information. So there's more than 40 terabytes of discovery for the district attorney's office to work through, according to the prosecution. So a court date has been set for Thursday, which, like I said, this article came out on the 20th, and today is the 22nd. So tomorrow there will be a court hearing. Just a horrible, awful case. Like I said, if they're going to go with the alternate suspect theory or defense or whatever, saying that he didn't do it, there were other people, his associates or friends, other people. I think there might have been one other person who either lived at that house or stayed there from time to time, but I don't know. Like I said, if you've seen any of the imagery and the lyrics from his quote unquote songs, I mean, like I said, innocent until proven guilty, but it's just very, very disturbing. So let me get caught up in your comments really quickly. Lots of comments popped up. There we go. Found my blue star. Absolutely. Mustang says justice for Celeste. I know. Guys, she was like 12, 13, at least 13 years old, probably younger, maybe 12, when this, I quote unquote, relationship started with David. I mean, it's just, and it's not a relationship. She couldn't consent. Like Ms. Z would say, she's a child. She can't consent to anything. Couldn't consent to anything. It's just, it makes me, hold on. I'm going to play Dave and you sound Where do they go? No, I don't want the background music. I want the sounds. It makes me want to do that, to scream. Anyway. Okay. Patriotism says, I'm not following, but I want to learn. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Patriotism also said today is Wednesday. Yes. I'm having trouble. Chris says prayers to Wilmer. What is that? Wilmer Al? And the tragic case that recently happened. Yeah, I have not heard of that one. You'll have to let me know about that one. Chris. And I can look it up. Yeah, so Stormy says OMG, yeah. Farr says this guy's broken and needs to be sent back to the factory. Hope he gets the DP. I know. So apparently Farr has read enough and seen enough about his. I mean, just. Just the, like I said, just the. I mean, he literally wrote a song basically about what allegedly happened. I mean, and like I said, the imagery he used on in the videos, the music videos that he put on whatever platform he was on, and probably used I think in his live concerts, and the lyrics to the songs. Very, and I'm not a wuss. I mean, you know me, I've always been into the horror genre and horror movies and fiction and stuff like that. But I mean, it's some really, in my opinion, some really twisted stuff. It's just, and then, something like this happens. I think, once again, this is just my opinion. I'm not making any kind of diagnosis. I'm not any kind of doctor, but in my opinion, there's some issues going on, maybe some psychopathy going on there, with him. So yeah, I agree with Farr that he needs to not be, in my opinion, not be around other people, not be out on the streets. Stormy said the chat box has gone weird on my phone. It makes it ridiculous to try and type. The update didn't fix it. Uh-oh. It must be on the YouTube side. Stormy said medical examiner found that Celeste had 2 penetrating wounds on her torso, including an injury to her liver. Yeah, it's just horrible, horrible. Absolutely horrible. Like I said, I'm all for releasing information, but I mean, like I said earlier, we all know what happens when even mainstream media, some mainstream media, and then when armchair sleuths, you know what I'm talking about here, on YouTube and other platforms, get a hold of that kind of information and use it for clickbait, and I can't even think of the words that I want to use now. Not glorifying it, but just exploitation. That's what I'm trying to think. Exploitation is just, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Farr said, I think they have a lot of digital evidence now. 40 terabytes is a lot. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, because I mean, if they had the charges of the lying in wait, and then the what else was it? Lying in wait, and then the basically taking out a witness. Maybe she was gonna, he either thought or she had said maybe that she was gonna, open, talk to start to, tell what had been going on, and maybe that was where the taking out the witness charge comes in. Yeah, I agree with Chris. Chris says throw this guy in jail for good. I agree. Yeah, Farr says how silly to unalive a witness. I know. Absolutely. Farr says jail is too good for him, in her opinion. I agree. Yeah, Chris says how silly to think he can be a good person and not be that. Exactly. Yep, Mustang says POS, most definitely. Patriotism asked me, will I cover the Athena? You're talking about Athena Strand trial. I don't have time to sit in like live stream, which I couldn't anyways, trials, but now when it starts, I mean, we can definitely talk about like updates and stuff during the trial. Most definitely, because that's another horrendous case. And I'm thinking, I know people are going to be covering it. I don't know if Grizzly True Crime will be doing it, but I'm sure there will be some of the big creators that will be probably be live streaming it. But yeah, we'll go over any updates. Absolutely. Chris says we don't have anything worse than prison. Yeah, to me, because they were talking about giving him the DP. But I mean, well, depending on what you believe, if you're a person of faith or not, you know, if he gets the DP, in my opinion, he's going to be somewhere very, very hot. Or if you're, you know, if you're not a person of faith and you think, there's nothing after we pass away, then he won't have to live with what he did. But in my opinion, once again, just in my opinion, I think he has so many issues that he doesn't. It's not going to affect him one way or the other. What he did, allegedly did what he allegedly did. Because in my opinion, he probably has no conscience, no empathy, nothing, just blank nothingness. All my opinion, just my opinion. Farr says this child did not have time to be a real child. She was groomed, in my opinion, from very young. Her first boyfriend was 20 something when she was 10. Oh my goodness. See, I hadn't heard about that. And he was unalived in gang activity. Yeah, she yep, you're right. She did not have a chance to be a child. And she was still a child when she passed away, when she was taken. Yep. Stormy says, I knew as soon as he canceled his tour, packed up his whole house, and went in hiding and silence, something was absolutely up. I agree. Yeah, Far says, I just think DP is more appropriate. Yeah, absolutely. Chris says, I had a feeling that he did it because he acted like he didn't have a care in the world. Absolutely. As I said, I don't think he has no conscience, no empathy, just psychopathic tendencies. And in my opinion, if he see, and how old was he? I can't remember how old he is. He could possibly have so he's 21. Just in my opinion, and you guys can let me know what you think in chat, or if you're watching replay. For one thing, first of all, thank you. If you're a replay crew, please leave me a comment down below to let me know you are a replay crew. Leave a comment. Feel free to leave a comment on any of these cases we're discussing tonight. He could possibly have other, just my opinion, other victims out there. As far as, I mean, definitely allegedly SA victims, possibly homicide victims. I mean, if he doesn't, I think if he hadn't been caught and charged and locked up right now, that sometime in the near future, he could have more. He could have had more. Just my opinion, but that's just the vibe I get from everything that I've read and seen. I just, Yep, I saw that. Absolutely. Farr said he sold shorts with fake blood and bloody handprints. In my opinion, he was reliving it and making money off of it. I agree. Stormy says he brought caskets out on stage at his concerts. Yep. He was a creep. Absolutely. I think there's something deeply, obviously, to say the least, something deeply wrong with this person. Stormy said all the girls in his videos look like her. Yep. Chris says, can they release him into general population in prison? I don't know. I know that. I mean, I know that if they do, that it probably won't be good for him, which would be, in my opinion, a good thing, because even the baddest of the bad in prison they're like, nope, you don't mess with kids. Don't mess with kids. So if they find out what he did, and allegedly did, yes, it wouldn't be good for him. But now, being that he's I guess, pseudo celebrity, whatever, I don't know if they would put him into Gen Pop. I don't know, but yeah, I think he would have a very hard time in Gen Pop. And like I said, in my opinion, that wouldn't be a bad thing. Really, I wonder why. Stormy said they can't use his lyrics in court, though, unfortunately. Why can't they use them? Because, I mean, that one song, and I can't remember even what it's called, but it's basically, I mean, from what has been released about Celeste homicide, it's basically telling the story of whoever allegedly what he did. I mean, I wonder why they can't use the lyrics. Can they use any of the imagery, things of that nature? I wonder. Maybe because they said that the song, maybe they're probably saying that the songs and his career have nothing to do with the case. So maybe that's why they're saying that it can't be used. I don't know. I'm just going to put that up there. I agree, Far. I don't know how much of it I can read out loud without YouTube getting me, but Far says, I don't like to say it, but he would make a good biatch. Apparently he goes both ways. Yep. GP is general population in prison. Yep. Stormy says she was 12. Yep. Chris said he would have to hire bodyguards to protect him from people. Yeah. And like I said, I don't even know if, I mean, he would have to give them something special. Let's just say that. Because like I said, even the baddest of the bad in prison, when it comes to, unless they are fellow child predators, yeah, they're like, you don't mess with the kids. We don't put up with that. Bad things get done to you in prison for messing with kids. Yeah, Mustang says he's going to know what a pincushion feels like. Far says if they take him out, I would put him there. Chris says there's 40,000 pieces of evidence against him. Excellent. Far says he is very twisted. I agree. Hey, Lance. Good to see you, sir. Glad you could make it. How is it in Canada? I'm assuming it's still cold up there. Yeah, just from what I'm not going to read that out loud, but yeah, you can see on the screen what Far said. Yeah, horrible. Lance says these podcasts for the missing always make me sad, which is why I'm not here more. Understandable. I totally understand. Hey, Black Knight, good to have you here, friend. Glad you could make it. Oh, yeah. Is today your birthday? I know the other night you said a couple of days is your birthday. So we'll give you another birthday dance. I did it the other night, but I got to find my videos. First of all, I like to play with the sounds now, like Dave. Let me find the one I want. There we go. Some applause for Black Knight's birthday. And There's some birthday dances in honor of Black Knight's birthday. Happy birthday. Yep, more happy birthdays. Yep. Mustang says prayers for justice for Celeste. Absolutely. I don't know. I just hopefully, like Chris said, they got like 40,000 pieces of 40 whatever, how many ever terabytes of evidence. So hopefully that will be enough. But I mean, stranger things have happened, enough to, if he did it, once again, innocent until proven guilty. Hopefully that will be enough to, for a jury to find him guilty. And not, because like I said, I'm sure the defense is probably going to bring in the alternate suspect or whatever you call it. It could have been somebody else that did it. He was, on tour in a different city or wherever he was supposedly at when, but they have to go back. They can go back and look. I'm sure they can estimate the time that probably the time that she passed away, pretty close. And see that he was, if he was in the general area, which from things that I've read that he was. Excellent. Yeah, Black Knight said, thank you, Mustang, for the birthday wish in the post. Yeah, Stormy says, Athena Strand has already started. It's local to me, happened less than 45 minutes away. Yeah, Patriotism wants to know if Stormy is covering it. Stormy says, I'm waiting to hear back from someone before I cover Athena. Hey, Avery. Good to see you, ma'am. Hey, Josh. There's Josh. Good to see you, my friend. He says, oh, my grooming. Yeah. See, and I didn't know, and I apologize. I can't, somebody, maybe Far said that when she was like 10, she had a quote unquote boyfriend that was like in his 20s. So this poor child, and I'm not saying this in any way, shape, or form to say anything against the parents, but where were the parents? And I know kids, even 10-year-old children, have a way of sneaking around. Can be determined if they're determined enough to do what they want to do at whatever age that they can do it without parents knowing anything. But man, 10 years old, and she was from what whoever said that that she had a 20-year-old boyfriend, and now, but I believe that the parents did know. They have come out and said that they did know that Celeste was quote unquote dating David, and apparently they had no problem with it. I don't know. Once again, I'm absolutely not blaming or shaming the parents, but I think they came out and said they knew that they were dating, and I use that term loosely. So I don't know. I don't have. Avery said, "Did you go over the medical examiner report yet?" No, I don't have. I don't have any reports. I'm just going over the basics, just trying to get caught up with some stuff. I don't think the ME report has come out. Well, I mean, I guess the preliminary one has. Let me see. I'm sure it's, it's horrible, I'm sure. Hold on. I'm typing if you can't hear it. Okay, here's one from News Nation that came out 4 hours ago. Okay, so this, like I said, from newsnationnow.com. And I didn't include it because I just looked it up, but I will put it link to it in the chat. So Celeste Rivas Hernandez passed away of, quote, multiple penetrating injuries, according to COD report. Once again, I got to get the ad out of the way. Hold on. So there's trigger warning. I have not read this. So the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has ruled the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the teen found decomposed last September in a vehicle registered to recording artist David, a homicide caused by multiple penetrating injuries caused by objects. The COD report found the 14-year-old died from multiple penetrating injuries caused by object or objects. It said, quote, there are 2 penetrating wounds of the torso with smooth edges that may represent sharp force injuries. One wound was on her upper abdomen, another on the left part of her chest. Oh, God. So David, whose legal name is David Anthony Burke, was formally charged Monday with her homicide. Once again, he faces a charge of first-degree homicide with special circumstances, along with charges of lewd acts with a child under 14 and mutilation of remains. Oh. So Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Ode Ukpo, I probably butchered that name, I apologize, said in a statement, a quote, after several months, I'm grateful this information can now be released not only to the public, but also to the grieving family enduring loss. She went on to say, she said the delay in determining a cause was due to the condition of the remains. She went on to say, quote, the transparency of the information contained in our findings and reports is essential for empowering the community to make informed changes to effectively reduce fear and allowing the community to take informed action, end quote. According to the investigative summary in the COD report, the medical examiner recorded on the scene, trigger warning, that both arms and legs were removed above the elbows and knees and were found in a black trash bag underneath her body. Oh, Jesus Christ. On her right index finger was the tattoo that read, basically SHHH. Her left ring and pinky fingers were missing. The medical examiner additionally reported, quote, multiple fragments of blue plastic material are found embedded in the cut surfaces. The fragments were submitted as evidence along with her clothes, hair, and other items from the scene. The charges came nearly 2 years after Hernandez was reported missing at 13. Her remains were later found in a car registered to Burke. Police said the state of the body slowed the investigation, degraded evidence, and fueled misinformation that detectives had to debunk. So once again, Hernandez, a runaway from Lake Elsinore, had been seen with Burke before her remains were discovered. Friends in the Los Angeles music scene told TMZ they believed that she was a college-age girlfriend. She was, and I don't know, some pictures I've seen of her, she did look older than, 13, 14. But, and then some you see that she looks like the child that she was, the 13-year-old child that she was. So yeah, just, horrible, horrible, horrible. Most definitely will be keeping track of this one. You're fine, Josh. Josh says I'm in late. You're fine. You're fine. This was a last minute. I think I scheduled it this morning because I was originally going to do one live stream Friday and kind of go over the same stories and just whatever, hanging out on a Friday night, but the schedule's changed, so I won't be able to do it Friday. So I said, we'll jump on here tonight for a little bit and go over some of this stuff. Yes, Miss Avery says hello to all. Thank you, Mustang. Put in the Stolen Spirits MMIWG. Please check them out on YouTube, on Facebook, and I do have the Facebook link. Give me 1 second and I will put it in. So if you're on Facebook, you can check them out. Give me 1 second. I still have that weird ringing in my ear. I don't know what, I think the aliens are still talking to me. Anyway, oh, wrong. Hold on. All right, there is the, should be popping up there, the link to their Facebook. Yeah, 21. Here's 21. Yeah. Like I said, I would, if I were law enforcement, and maybe they already have, I would be going back to looking back in his history to see if any other of his any females that he was around had disappeared or been found unalive. I will be looking. Just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I mean, just like I said, given the things that we know or that we've heard that have been released. Yeah, Farr says he is even too twisted for prison, in my opinion. I agree. Yeah, Avery said, I just read the ME report. It's awful. Absolutely. And we knew it would be, though, just from the limited information that had been released, that she had been, basically, they kind of hinted that she, you know, the condition that she was in when she was found. But yeah, the report is definitely awful. I agree. Yeah, Josh says, I have not, oh my goodness, I have not kept up with this case. What a creep. Yeah, he's not, there's something wrong with him, my opinion. Something wrong with him. So Chris has mentioned this Wilmer again. Let me know what that is so I can look at that. Because I've not heard that name. That's not familiar to me. Hey, Junior. Good to see you, sir. Junior made it in from Michigan. Always good to see Junior here. You're not missing anything. Josh says, I've never heard any of his songs. You're not missing anything, in my opinion. You're not missing anything. Very, I don't even know how to describe it. And like I said, I'm a person who enjoys the horror genre and dark stuff, fiction stuff, not the real stuff, fiction stuff. And man, just a little bit I've heard of some of his lyrics and his songs. No, nope, not for me. Okay, Stormy, I was wondering about why they couldn't use a lyric. Stormy says you cannot use song lyrics in court in general. Okay, I guess maybe for copyright reasons. But man, that if they just listen to that one song, and like I said, I can't remember what it's called. I don't know. It just basically, in my opinion, lays out what happens, allegedly. Yeah, like Farr says, it basically tells allegedly what he did. Yeah, but I agree. Mustang says, I've not either, talking about not hearing his quote unquote music and have no intentions of listening. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. But yeah, at least some of the, yeah, Sleuthy, if you can find maybe at least some of the lyrics of that song. I mean, it's basically, it lays it out there. Okay, so Stormy says lyrics often cannot be used as direct evidence in court because they are recognized as protected, copyright, protected artistic expression, fiction, metaphor, or persona rather than literal confessions of fact. That makes sense. Unfortunately, I understand it, but man, if they could use the lyrics to that one song. Yeah, Chris says he has no desire to hear his music or his voice. Yeah. Hey, Simmy, good to see you. Oh, there's Simmy. Good to see you. Glad you could make it. Welcome in. Stormy says she's seen a lot of music artist trials. They couldn't use the lyrics. Yeah, but she says, but maybe, I don't know. It would be, yeah, just to give an insight. But then, like I said, like Stormy said, that explanation, it would kind of be like hearsay, kind of. So the 23rd is your birthday. So tomorrow is your birthday. Didn't I say today was the 22nd? So tomorrow is your birthday. So happy early birthday again. Josh says he'll be 24. Good Lord. 24. Are you 24? Or I don't know how old you are. I don't know. I know you're younger than me, but most of y'all are. Says I'll be 24 in a few days myself. Yeah, my birthday's coming up here in less than a month. We might have to. I'll have to see what day my birthday falls on. We might have, if I can do a live stream somewhere around. I think actually my birthday, I think it's actually on a Monday. So we'll be doing a Missing Person Monday live stream on my birthday. Yeah, I was playing with the sounds. Yeah. I got it from Dave. Blame Dave. He's always playing with the sounds on the I forgot what am I using? StreamYard. God, I'm losing my mind. It's only halfway through the week. Yeah, Dave's always playing with the sounds on his live streams that we've got on SoundYard. George says he needs to make some sounds and dances for his channel. Yep, happy early birthday to Josh. Josh, do you want a birthday dance? Hold on. And we'll give you Snoopy. I can never get enough of Snoopy. I could watch Snoopy all night long. Goodness. Yep. Happy early birthday to Josh. Hey, Miss Peggy. Glad you could make it. She says she's been lurking. That's all right, Miss Peggy. I do the same thing myself sometimes if I don't feel like chatting. Most of the time, I'll at least come in and when I get there and say hello to everybody, and then I kind of stay quiet and listen. I watch the chat, but sometimes you just don't feel like talking a whole lot. Well, yeah, that does. You talk about the dancing birthday cake. Black Knight said reminds me of the Annette Funicello beach movies dance music. Yeah, I remember. I mean, I wasn't born. I don't think I was born in '71. So those what Annette Funicello movies were made in the 50s, probably 60s. But yeah, I've seen clips of some of them. Yeah, what was that one called? I know she was in a lot of them. But there's one that they're always showing on like the classic movie channels on satellite. Oh, that's fine. Simi says I'm late, but I was modding and not goofing off. That's a good enough excuse. No, nobody never ever needs any excuses around here. I understand. Let me see. We get caught up. We'll get on with the next. So there's the link to the medical examiner report that I read earlier. You're talking about the parents. Yeah, Simi says they totally knew. In fact, she was home twice during the time. Yeah, she was supposedly missing. There's a video of her arguing with a neighbor during that time. Her parents totally knew. Yeah, I've seen that video of her arguing outside. Yeah, like I said, I think the parent, once again, I'm not shaming the parents, absolutely. But I think they just not too long after, I don't know if after she was, when she was still missing or when they found her, that they came out and said they knew that she, and then maybe David's name was brought up, and I think they pretty sure they basically came out and said, yeah, we knew that they were quote unquote dating. or whatever, seeing each other, which, like I said, once again, a child, she was under 18, she could not consent to anything. But yeah. I'm also, Josh said I am a 30th baby. So your birthday's the 30th, and a Taurus. I'm also a Taurus. That's why we're bullheaded. That's why we're full of bull. Oh, Lance says he's leaving. Okay. It was good to have you here, Lance. Thank you for stopping in. Junior says hello to everyone. Yeah, I agree. Josh says what humans will do to other vulnerable humans continues to just sicken me, and it extends from the poorest to the most powerful creeps. Exactly. Exactly. So is it concerning Celeste case? Simi said, I highly recommend watch a replay later of Courtroom Confidential. Josh had Joe Scott on to go over that report, the ME report. Joe is awesome at explaining stuff. Check it out later or tomorrow. It's worth it. I absolutely will. Thank you, Simi, for that recommendation. Absolutely. Josh says the words coming out of my mouth right now are not YouTube friendly. Yeah, Junior said I heard this earlier. It's sickening. I know. I just absolutely. Stormy says I can't imagine what her parents are going through and feeling. I agree, and absolutely, my thoughts and prayers definitely going out to her parents, her family. I mean, just horrendous. I can't even. My mind can't even begin to fathom. Just, I mean, I can't. I just can't. Oh goodness, Josh, I hope you're okay. Josh says I'm usually busy on Wednesday nights, but I fell yesterday and hurt my ankle, hip, and shoulder. Well, goodness, you sound like me. Don't fall and break a hip, although you're not as old as me. We'll get to feeling better, Josh. Yeah, man, either 2 or 3 winters ago. It was around December, 2 or 3 years ago. Is when I was still doing home health caregiving. We had gone to do, we had to go to the laundromat because the lady I was working with that day had a big comforter that we needed to wash that wouldn't fit in the just a regular almost said dishwasher. Good Lord. I can't talk. I can't use my words. Wouldn't fit in a regular clothes washer. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Anyway, I've lost my mind. So we had to take it and wash it in one of the big things at the laundromat. And when I stepped off the curb leaving, and she was in a wheelchair, so I was trying to wrangle her in the wheelchair, and then the comforter in the clothes basket. And I stepped off, and the curb was only maybe not more than an inch high. And I stepped off it the wrong way and twisted my ankle and broke my ankle and was in a walk-in boot for like 6 weeks. And I still had to work and do the caregiving. It was awful. Anyway, enough of my bitching. Anyway, but yeah, I definitely get to feeling better. You know. Thank you, Stormy. Stormy says, I got to get going, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Please do check out Stormy's channel along with everybody else. Check out Stormy. Check out Josh at Where Lavender Grows. Check out, I know Miss Paula was in here earlier. Anybody else? I apologize if I'm forgetting that's here that has a channel. Mustang is getting the links in. Once again, there is Mustang put in the link, or there's the Mustang put in the link for the Stolen Spirits YouTube And then this is the link to Stolen Spirits MMIWG Facebook group. Excellent. We'll check it out. Stormy said that she has posted the full press conference with David's hearing attached if anyone hasn't seen it. Thank you. I will definitely go over there and watch it. Yes, this is true. Josh says we still haven't established if the Dawn that we are seeing is the actual Dawn or an alien imposter. I can neither confirm nor deny because, you know, what happens when the men in black come and take you? You don't remember anything, so I have no recollection of what happened after my phone shut off. Anyway, people who don't know what we're talking about are going, man, what are they talking about? These people are crazy here. Go back and watch the live. We did fun live streams this past weekend, Friday night, Saturday night, on the alien conspiracy theories. It was an adventure, to say the least. Let me see. Fars says, I do have a lot of questions about the parents. Are they also working with the cops? Why didn't the cops remove her beforehand when they knew where she was in her age? Just things I want. Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to. I mean, you know, cops do have to follow rules too, and we know a lot of times that the children that are being taken advantage of and groomed do fall through the cracks. And it's just an awful, awful situation, you know, all the way around. Yeah, I agree with Stormy. I don't think the parents would do anything intentionally to, you know, but, you know. Hey, Nicole, good to see you, ma'am. Glad you could make it. Let me see. Simi says, oh gosh, I'm so much older than that. I will be 55 on my birthday. Yeah. Josh says, I'm sticking to my story. I've been turning 24 for 20 years now. I don't know. I think you might, because I think you've mentioned what year you were born, and I think you might be actually around the age of my baby brother. I could be wrong, but my baby brother was born in 80. So I could be wrong. I may have mixed you up with somebody else when we're talking about birthdays. You want some more? Simi wants some more beach party music. That's a good. Far says I go about 20 years older, so people can tell me how good I look for my age. I've never thought about that. I like that. Let me see. Okay, now Stormy says she's really going to bed now. Good night, Stormy. Thank you for being here, dear. Let me see. Just trying to get caught up here. That was it. Thank you. Black Knight said Beach Blanket Bingo was the 1965 Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about. The one they play all the time on the like Turner Classic Movies. I don't even know if that's still a channel. It used to be a channel on a satellite, but there are a lot of channels on satellite that play the old classic movies. The what defense? Mustang says, does anyone remember the Twinkie defense? No, I don't. And please explain, ma'am. That, I do not remember that. I've never heard of that. Or maybe I have and I've forgotten. So, like I said, please explain. I need to know now. Josh says he needs to eventually check out the other Josh on Courtroom Confidential. Oh, me too. Nicole says she's got indigestion. Me too. I ate some leftover. I had to take my mom to a doctor's appointment yesterday. She had to go get her eyes checked, so I had to drive her home because I dilated her eyes, and we stopped and ate at Olive Garden before we came home. And then so we had leftover, or I had leftover Olive Garden. And I love Olive Garden, but it gives me all indigestion. But once again, I'm at the age now where everything gives me indigestion. Oh, you're talking about me breaking my ankle. Josh says, I'm definitely not hurt that awful. That had to be terrible. Yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. The walking boot was more annoying than anything. I mean, because for the most part, my ankle was from about mid calf down. I was just kind of numb. I didn't really feel anything. But just having to, if you can imagine, having to, do home health caregiving, wrangling elderly people around with a walking boot on for 6 weeks, it wasn't fun. But anyway, I digress as usual. Oh yeah, I learned, Nicole says, I do it every time, taking my vitamins on an empty stomach. Yeah, I never take any, or try not to take, I'm trying to break myself of the habit of taking my meds without, or on an empty stomach. Anyway, Simi says they are 63 years young. Mustang is 50 years young. Nicole says she was born in 80, so you're the same age, around the same age as my baby brother. Mustang says she was 5 in 80. What can raise your blood pressure? Josh says, I found out the hard way that can raise your blood pressure. What, taking meds on an empty stomach? Okay, so Josh says, going back to this Twinkie defense, I've heard of Harvey Milk. Harvey Milk perp, right? Hold on. Now I'm going to have to look that up. Was it Harvey Milk? I wonder if I could look up Twinkie defense, if anything would come up. Hold on. Let me give it a try. See, this is why I like to, it came up, Twinkie defense, California. Hold on. Oh, it's got a Wikipedia page. Hold on, y'all. Okay, so it says, according to Wikipedia, I don't know if this is what Mustang is talking about. The Twinkie defense is a derisive label for an improbable legal defense. It is not a recognized legal defense in jurisprudence, but a catch-all term coined by reporters during their coverage of the trial of defendant Dan White for the homicide. Okay, so for the homicide of San Francisco City Supervisor Harvey Milk and Mayor George Moscone. White's defense was that he suffered diminished capacity as a result of his depression, a symptom of which was a change in diet from healthy food to Twinkies and other sugary foods. Oh my goodness. Contrary to common belief, White's attorneys did not argue that the Twinkies were the cause of White's actions, but that their consumption was symptomatic of his underlying depression. The product itself was only mentioned in passing during the trial. White was convicted of voluntary manslaughter rather than first-degree homicide and served 5 years in prison. Okay, so now I know what I've definitely heard of Harvey Milk, of that case, yeah. But I'd either forgotten or hadn't read about the Twinkie defense. Interesting. See, that's why I like just having these live streams where I just, get in the chat with you guys, because I learned some interesting stuff. Basically, Mustang put it in a nutshell. It would take too long to explain the whole thing, but some guy killed or unalived someone and tried to use eating too many Twinkies. I mean, I guess you can have a sugar high if you eat too much sugary food. I don't know. I try to, what did I do? Oh, there it is. I'm losing my stuff here. I try to stay away from the sugary stuff. I don't always succeed, but I was wrangling. I don't say that in a derisive manner, but yeah, I was wrangling elderly people in a walking boot for 6 weeks. Yes, ma'am. It was, like I said, it was not fun. Miss Peggy says she is 70 years young. Your picture doesn't, yeah, you don't look like you're 70. She says, thanks for the compliments. Yep, I'm the granny. Okay, I think I'm caught up. So we will see what we have next. We'll get off this David whatever. See, I was just thinking about that too. Josh said, I wish we could share gifts on in the chat. But then he said, perhaps not. I become a public nuisance. I know there's so many times that I've wanted to use a GIF in a chat, but I don't know. Maybe YouTube would take that under consideration. I don't know. Nicole says, I couldn't imagine doing all that in a walking boot. Yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. Okay, let's see what we have next. Okay. So next, so if anybody, I know this, it is so hard to keep up with everything going on with the Nancy Guthrie case between the sheriff and the, oh goodness, the FBI and the whoever's working on it. And I think they're trying to get the sheriff kicked out or something. I don't know. You guys are going to have to inform me of some stuff. But anyway, I found this article did pop up from parade.com about the DNA testing. And it came out, oh no, I don't want to sign in unless it makes me. This came out, this article came out, when did it come out? Oh my goodness, stop. Sorry, stuff is popping up. The 20th, so a couple of days ago. Nancy Guthrie update, FBI's advanced DNA testing could fast track a break in the case. Let's hope so. I suppose just every time I see her picture, and I didn't put her picture on the slide, but I mean, just looking at her beautiful little face there, it just breaks my heart. So it says in an exclusive with Parade, former FBI agent Greg Rogers explains how specialized DNA testing and international coordination could accelerate key developments in the investigation. So let's see what this says. Once again, if I can get rid of all the freaking ads. So the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance could be entering a critical new phase as attention turns to whether the FBI's advanced forensic resources may help unlock long-standing questions in the case. Yeah, because apparently they found a lot of mixed DNA, and they're trying to figure out how to separate the DNA to see if there's any DNA from the perpetrators, the offenders that, you know, it's not supposed to be there. So with key evidence still under scrutiny, the potential use of specialized DNA testing and broader coordination across agencies, has emerged as a focal point in efforts to generate new leads. Excuse me again, talking about the indigestion. So a few days ago, it says ABC News reported that DNA obtained from Guthrie's home was sent to the FBI after spending several weeks being tested at a lab in Florida. Okay. I think I'd read about that. So although the DNA isn't a new finding, many hope that the FBI is able to get a positive match in order to potentially identify a suspect in the case. Following the news, Parade reached out to former FBI agent Greg Rogers for some insight into how long the process can take. So Rogers says, quote, the FBI lab is the best in the country. A high priority case like this is prioritized and results can come back in a matter of days. We also have contacts in Mexico that will be utilized to further investigate any solid DNA testing results, end quote. So he goes on to say, quote, the FBI lab has certain DNA testing capabilities that most local labs don't have, such as nuclear DNA, Y chromosome DNA, and mitochondrial DNA. Those tests are often used on shed hair fragments, which are an issue in the Guthrie case. And it says he's referring to the report that the piece of hair doesn't contain the root. So I'm assuming some of the DNA came from a foreign hair, or a hair that didn't match anybody, that basically shouldn't have been there. So he added, quote, the FBI's unique combination of the CODIS database, specialized testing, and national and international coordination give it the preeminent role in working these types of cases, end quote. So Guthrie 84 was last seen on Saturday, January 31st. It didn't seem like it's been that long. Authorities have not publicly identified any suspects in the case. So hopefully they can, like they said, the FBI can fast track the testing of the DNA, and maybe it will have some kind of, maybe it'll get them somewhere. And I think in Savannah, didn't she return back to, was it the Today Show? Isn't she back? I think she's back. Yeah, Mustang says, talking about circus, the Nancy Guthrie case is out of control. I know, I'm so behind on this one. Like I said, this one about the DNA testing just popped up in my news feed, but I know there's, with the sheriff, and I think I read somewhere they were trying to get rid of him, and I think the FBI and the local LE, or maybe the sheriff, weren't getting along, weren't wanting to work together, or whatever was going on. So yeah, unfortunately not really an update, but we're hoping something soon, if everybody can get their stuff together and work together and play nice and get some stuff done. Thank you, Josh. Josh says, good night, everyone. I've got a long day tomorrow. Thank you, Dawn. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Please do check out Josh at Where Lavender Grows. He usually does live streams on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Or not Eastern, excuse me. Central time. I don't know where Eastern. Dave is Eastern time. Josh is Central time. But thank you for being here, Josh. I'm glad you could make it. You must be talking about, I'm assuming, a puppy. Or I don't know, a puppy or a human. I don't know. Nicole says, my sweet Leonidas is snoring his butt off laying beside me. I don't know. She's either talking about a human or an animal. I don't know which. She'll have to let me know. I was just assuming. Oh, goodness. Okay. All right. So that was the non-update on Nancy Guthrie, unfortunately. But like I said, hopefully they can fast track, get something done, hopefully, with that evidence. Okay, Nicole says, yes, that is her baby doggy. Oh, how sweet. The Mustang said a giant doggy. All right, so we had this case, and I know Dave has talked about this case, and I've tried to keep up with whatever pops up in my news feed about this. But this is the Lynette Hooker case. And I'm hoping my article will come up. The lady that the husband said that she fell out. They were on a boat, and then they'd gone out in the dinghy, the little boat, to do whatever. And they were coming back to the big boat, and she supposedly fell out of the boat with the key, out of the little boat with the keys to the big boat. But apparently, the daughter, at least, is not satisfied with his story. And I think it says in this article that he was questioned by police extensively, and so maybe they had some questions about his story, but apparently they released him, and I guess didn't have enough of anything to charge him or to keep him. But I find, just a little I've read about it, I have questions. But this is from people.com. It is from the 19th of April. A daughter of Lynette Hooker, a missing woman in Bahamas, questions her stepfather's version of events. So Lynette's daughter, Carly Ellsworth, told Dateline that she hopes to keep a spotlight on the case. So the daughter of missing American woman Lynette Hooker is speaking out about her mother's disappearance in the Bahamas and expressing her concerns about her stepfather, Brian Hooker's involvement in the case. In an interview with Dateline, shared by Today.com, Lynette's daughter, Carly Ellsworth, visited the boat where her mom and husband Brian lived before Lynette's disappearance. Ellsworth told Dateline, quote, "It's making it a little bit more real," end quote. I just can't imagine. She continued, quote, "A lot of sadness. When I first got here, I sat up there and looked at the boat and started talking to her like she was here. I was like, 'Hey, Mom, I'm here. Wherever you are, I just want to talk to you and see you again,' end quote." Oh, my God, that breaks my heart. Ellsworth, 28, said that she spent 3 hours talking to police and hopes to keep a spotlight on the case. She also shared that she has questioned her stepfather's version of what happened, as Brian told authorities that Lynette fell overboard with the engine keys, the keys to the dinghy during a trip back to their boat, the big boat, from Hope Town to Elbow Cay in the Abaco Islands. So Brian told police he then paddled the dinghy back to shore to alert authorities to what happened early the next morning. The daughter said, quote, I hope this was just a freak accident, but I just have a hard time believing it at the moment. I just want to know the truth," end quote. She added, quote, "I feel like this was probably pre-planned, if anything, like it doesn't seem like just some accident," end quote. Ellsworth previously told people that her stepfather allegedly was what she called strict and had anger issues. So yeah, that would be a problem. Brian's attorney, Terrell A. Butler, told people that, quote, he categorically and unequivocally denies any wrongdoing, end quote, and is cooperating with authorities. So Butler, the husband, has also pushed back on Ellsworth's claims. The attorney said that Brian is, quote, the only witness to what transpired, and he has said he has done nothing wrong. So to refer to allegations of abuse or a tumultuous relationship does not explain what happened on the day or indicate whether or not he was somehow culpable for anything that may have happened to her, end quote. Now that may be all well and good, just because you may, and just because there may have been some DV or some allegations of DV and a tumultuous relationship does not necessarily mean that you're going to take the life of your significant other, but you would think that it would kind of make them look, and I'm sure that they did. That's why they questioned him. Maybe take a little bit closer look, but they're always going to look at the ones closest to the victim anyway. I mean, even in an alleged accident. So, I'm just trying to say that the attorney, just because, the attorney says, anyway, just because that there was allegations. So Brian was taken into custody in the Bahamas on April 8th. He was in custody for days and questioned several times before police ultimately decided to release him without filing charges. So the Royal Bahamas Police wrote in an April 13th press release, quote, "The decision to release the individual was made following consultation with the Department of Public Prosecutions, which recommended that no charges be filed at this time, pending the outcome of further investigations," end quote. So maybe, like they said, further investigations, maybe they'll bring him back in at some point if they find anything that might point in the direction that he did something. So the Bahamian police said that Brian is still a suspect in Lynette's disappearance, but he has since left the country. Ellsworth said on April 16th that she had not heard from her stepfather since he was released from police custody. And questioned why he left the country after saying that he would dedicate, quote, his full emotional and physical energy toward coordinating with relevant parties to find Lynette, end quote. So yeah, so apparently so they haven't found her body yet. He's left the country. He is apparently not talked to his stepdaughter about his mother's being missing accident. I don't know. I have questions, but as always, let me know what you guys think. In this case, all right, let me Far says she didn't know about this case. Yeah, it hasn't got a whole lot of attention. It just pops up like on my YouTube feed and on my Google feed just because apparently I Google and watch a lot of true crime. Surprise, surprise. And like I said, there have been Dave has covered it, talked about it on his live streams. Al on the Prowl, please check out Dave if you haven't already. He does his late night, early morning, late Saturday night, early Sunday morning live streams. Yeah, it's just I have questions. About that. Oh goodness, really? So Simi says I'm assuming you're talking about Lynette and Brian. Says they have a YouTube channel where they boat all the time. Their YouTube is called Happy Hookers. Oh my goodness. And I understand that that's their last name, but oh my goodness. I don't know if I would name that my YouTube channel. Oh gosh, that is crazy. Crazy. So Simi says, check that out if you want to do a victimology. There's a lot to learn. She says they aren't amateur boaters. Yeah, because I mean, and even if you are experienced at whatever you're doing, boating or whatever, accidents do happen. But I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I have questions, especially with his act. And once again, innocent until and unless proven guilty. But with him leaving the country, even though she's still missing, he's not talking, obviously, or evidently not talked to the stepdaughter. So, yeah, Farr says does sound very sus in her opinion. Simi says, and not to mention the bay is rather shallow. Interesting. See, I'm the same way. Farr says, although I am always very quick to point fingers at the husband, he may be innocent. And that is true. But once again, we all know, all of us that, read and research true crime, no matter what, especially if it's a homicide or a missing person, they always look at the people that are closest to the victim or the missing person, which is if they have a significant other or whatever. So it's of course they're going to look at the husband. Yep, Simi says, but his behavior afterwards is a bit sus. I agree. Yep, he left the country. I'm sorry if it was my significant other, I would and he won't talk to the daughter. I would not have left. Yep, everybody has got their red flags. Simi said he wouldn't search before he left. Simi said the locals told Ben, you're talking about Ashley Banfield, that the bay is shallow and she should have already washed up unless he did something else with her. See? There we go. Yeah, Miss Paula says red flaggy. I agree. Most definitely. All right, so let me see what we got next. Oh, we got good old Rexy next. I think this is the last one I have. So we know that he has pled guilty. He had been charged with 7, but he pled guilty to 8. He ended up pleading guilty to, or confessing to, Karen Vergata, who I believe was the one known as Fire Island Jane Doe. Was that the right one? So apparently he told his wife, so this is from NBCnews.com, and it is from, it was posted, hold on, excuse me, the 21st, so yesterday. So Gilgo Beach serial offender Rex Heuermann told his ex-wife that he took the lives of 7 of the victims in their home. According to, apparently there's a documentary that's come out on Peacock, which I can't watch because I don't have the Peacock streaming service. Anyway, so it says earlier this month, Heuermann admitted to taking the lives of 8 women whose remains were found along Long Island's Gilgo Beach more than a decade ago. Rex Heuermann, the man who admitted to taking the lives of 8 women whose remains were found along Long Island's Gilgo Beach, told his former wife that he took the lives of 7 of those victims in their Massapequa Park home. And this is according to a preview of the Gilgo Beach Unaliver House of Secrets. In a preview of the final episode of the Peacock documentary series about the crimes, which airs Thursday, Heuermann's ex-wife, Asa Ellerup, said that he told her that he took the lives of 8 of the women who were found along Gilgo Beach. Ellerup said in the clip, quote, he said he unalived 8 women, end quote. She said there was no hesitation when Heuermann made the admission, but that he was very nervous when they were speaking. Well, yeah, I would be nervous too. Heuermann, 62, was charged with unaliving 7 of the women whose remains were found more than a decade ago on Long Island's South Shore. But he confessed that he took the life of an 8th, Karen Vergata, when he took a plea deal April 8th. He changed his plea from not guilty to guilty in a New York courtroom earlier this month. In exchange for the admission, Heuermann will not face charges in the death of Vergata, who disappeared in 1996. So, man, that just sucks for her family. I mean, but I guess, I mean, at least he admitted it. I mean, they have that, I guess, but... So in court, he admitted to meeting all 8 women, strangling them, and dumping their bodies where they were found across Gilgo Beach, Manorville, and Southampton. Heuermann also agreed to cooperate with the FBI as a part of the plea agreement, but said that he will not provide details of how he committed the crimes. So his ex-wife said, quote, he said that I wasn't home during all of them. End quote. So that means she was home for some of them. When asked whether Heuermann admitted to taking the lives of any of the women in their shared home, Ellerup said that he did. She said, quote, they were unalived in his room downstairs, all except one, end quote. Oh, can you imagine? So 11 sets of human remains, most of which belong to those of sex workers, were found along Gilgo Beach between 2010 and 2011. A search for Shannon Gilbert, who disappeared in 2010, prompted the discovery of all the remains. And I still have questions about Shannon Gilbert, that case. So Heuermann is not charged with Shannon's death. He was arrested in 2023 in connections with the deaths of Melissa Barthélemy at 24, Megan Waterman, 22, and Amber Costello, 27. The women disappeared in 2009 and 2010 and were among the Gilgo 4, a group of workers whose bodies were found in the area in 2010. Then in 2024, he was charged with the death of Maureen Brainerd Barnes, 25, who is the 4th woman of the Gilgo 4. He was later charged with 3 more women whose remains were found on the Beach Parkway. Jessica Taylor, 20, who disappeared in July of 2003. Sandra Castilla, 28, whose remains were found in Southampton in 1993. And Valerie Mack, 24, who disappeared in 2000. In court earlier this month, Heuermann admitted that he was responsible for all of their deaths and for that of Vergata's. Heuermann is expected to be sentenced to life in prison without parole, 3 consecutive life sentences, followed by 4 sentences of 25 years to life, and his sentencing is set for June 17th. It says that NBC News asked an attorney for Heuermann for comment, but had not received a response at the time of publication. Well, of course not. I mean, can you imagine? Because it did say, when, if I remember correctly, when, they first got on to his trail and, got all the evidence and against him and arrested him, that, she did go visit her parents out of the country a lot, or go visit her family. I forgot where they lived, out of the country a lot. And then they kind of matched up. That's when he did the deeds, was when she and the kids, they had 2 kids, right? A girl and a boy, were out of the country for the most part. So it's just, I just can't imagine just finding out that the house that you lived in, and I'm sure she didn't, well, I say I'm sure, I don't know. I would assume that no, but you never know. I would assume that she didn't go down into, because I think what she called his room was like down in the basement or something, where he took the lives of them. Maybe she never went down there. I don't know. But just the thought of being in the house, those are the kind of things that give me the shivers, the chill down the spine. Like I said, I can watch horror movies all night long and it doesn't bother me because I know it's not real. But when it comes to this stuff, the real stuff, yeah, FarQ says, OMG, yeah. Far said, I would not be able to live there anymore knowing that. Yeah, and I think she filed for divorce not too long after he was arrested, if I remember correctly. Simi said, yet she still stay in the house? Says, yet she stays in the house. She might be creepy too. I know that the daughter, and once again, I'm not, we don't family blame or anything here, but the daughter had some creepy artwork. Like I said, creepy doesn't bother me, but she had some creepy art stuff going on. Mustang says, same here. I'd have done moved out. Yeah, I'm telling you, me too. Yeah, see, I wondered about that too. Simi said, I'm sorry, but don't tell me there's a room in my home I'm not allowed in. Please believe I'm going in the first chance I get. I know. I mean, if you have a hut, because I don't know. I don't know evidently she saw something in him. She married him. I don't know. Maybe it was a marriage of convenience. I don't know. I mean, he's just creepy as hell, in my opinion. Just, I would not have get anywhere near him. Oh, hey, Delulu. Sorry, I almost missed you. Welcome. Glad you could make it. But yeah, if there was, if I had a husband, especially that looked like that and acted like that, was creepy as AF, and he's probably said, hey, don't go down in this room. It's locked. You're not allowed to go down here. Yeah, I would, you better believe I'd be out of there, or I'd be finding a way to get into that room. You're welcome. You're much welcome. Simi said, they sort of suit each other. I said what I said. Yeah, it's like I said, I don't know. I know that she's from a different country. I can't remember what country exactly, but I don't know. Evidently she saw, either, like I said, she either saw something in him. I don't know. or it was a marriage of convenience or some kind of I don't know. I don't want to get into theories and crazy stuff. I don't like to do that, but just saying. All right, I think that is the last one I had. So if anybody has anything else, so y'all never told me about the Wilmer, whatever that case was that Chris was y'all were talking about earlier. I don't even know if Chris is still here. He may have fallen asleep. What did they say it was? Wilmer. I can't spell. I think it was Al or Wilmer. I don't know what it was. Was it Wilmer, Alabama, or was somebody named Wilmer? Oh, was it 3 family members found deceased in Alabama home as infant is left alive? Police revealed chilling details. Is that what they were talking about? That is from Wilmer, Alabama. No, not the Twinkie case. We covered the Twinkie defense. So there is, maybe he meant Wilmer, Alabama. Let me see if I can screen share. Hold on one second. Let me take that down for a minute. Oh, let me take Twinkie down. Hold on. Let me make sure I get the right tab. Give me a minute. Or a second. Make sure it pops up. Might take it a second. Or not. Oh, there it comes. Okay. So I found this. It's from Wilmer, Alabama. 3 family members found deceased in Alabama home as infant is left alive. Police revealed chilling details. So there is, it says, make sure you guys can see it. Lisa Gale Fields, her daughter Keziah Luker, and son Thomas Cordell Jr. were found deceased in their Wilmer, Alabama home. I can't get it to move. Hold on. Authorities are investigating a triple homicide in Wilmer where 3 members of a family, including a pregnant teenager, were found deceased at a home on Auble Moody Road. The victims have been identified as Lisa Gale Fields, 46, her children, Keziah Luker, 17, and Thomas Cordell Jr., 12, according to Mobile County Sheriff Paul Birch, who spoke at a news conference. WDAM 7 reported that Luker was pregnant at the time of her death on April 20th. An 18-month-old child was found inside the home but was not harmed, police said. Is that it? Oh my goodness, hold on. Let me see if there's any other. That is horrible. Okay, so here's one. I'm gonna have to reshare the screen. Hold on. So it happened the 20th, so that was what, 2 days ago? It's gonna take it a minute to pop up on the screen. So this is from MSN.com. Senseless, homicide for nothing. Family neighbors remember mother of 2 children found deceased in Wilmer home. And this is from 2 days ago. So it says update from 10 p.m. News 5 spoke with family members and neighbors after a woman and her 2 children were found deceased at their home in Wilmer. One relative does not want to be identified, but says his family is in total shock. The family member said, quote, "We're not doing good. I mean, it's a senseless homicide for nothing," end quote. Mary G. Montgomery Mary G. Montgomery High School officials learned that Keziah was one of their students. She also played softball at Simus Softball Park. A neighbor who lives across the street from the family wishes to remain anonymous, but knows the family. The neighbor told News 5, quote, "My little girl went to J.E. Turner with TJ. They were in a class together. TJ was actually a lovely person, and his mom was too, and his sister. And it's just heartbreaking that it happened like that," end quote. News 5 has also learned that officers arrived at the scene after a family member did a welfare check. Oh my God, can you imagine? According to MCSO, I'm assuming that's the sheriff's office, when 17-year-old Keziah's boyfriend was offshore at work, he saw her phone starting to move on Life 360. When he couldn't reach her, he called his dad to go check up on the family. When the dad got inside, that's when he saw everything and grabbed the 18-month-old before calling 911. It says so far, no one has been arrested. And then, so update. So this is from, Mobile County Sheriff Paul Birch has provided more details about a Wilmer triple homicide that happened overnight. According to Sheriff Birch, the Mobile County Sheriff's Office initially received a call to the home around 2:30 a.m. When they arrived, deputies found the 3 victims all in separate rooms with their hands tied behind their backs with zip ties. Sheriff Birch said that Lisa Gail Fields, the mother, was stabbed and her throat was, oh my gosh, her throat was cut. Keziah Ariana Luker, the 17-year-old, was GSW'd. And Thomas Cordell Jr., the 12-year-old, had his throat cut and was I can't even read it out loud. An 18-month-old, who was Keziah's child, was left in the home unharmed. Sheriff Birch said the house was left in disarray, leading investigators to believe the suspects were looking for something. He said he believes there may have been more than one suspect because 3 people were subdued. Absolutely. No person of interest has been named in the case, but the sheriff's office is following up on some leads. Sheriff Birch believes that it is a targeted situation and does not think the public is in danger. Due to the fact that Keziah was pregnant, the Mobile County District Attorney's Office will have to determine if the suspect or suspects will receive 4 charges of homicide. So yeah, that's just going back to the earlier updates. That is horrible. Yeah, it sounds like, I don't know, it was either, I don't know, it could have been, but they said it was targeted. So it could have been just a random home invasion, but it sounds like they said it was targeted and that maybe whoever the suspects are were looking for something. And I'm assuming they came prepared if they had them zip tied. Because, I mean, who is just going to randomly carry zip ties around with you, or find zip ties? What is possible? Find zip ties just laying around the house. I mean, we don't have zip ties laying around our house. Now, my brother has them, baby brother has them out in the shop where he works on the cars and stuff. But, I mean, we just don't have random zip ties laying around everywhere. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on that one. So I don't know if that's the one that Chris was talking about earlier, but it may be because he put Wilmer AL, and so that might have been it. I can never type either. Simi said I can't type. I should go to bed. Lurk could be it. Yes, that's what I always thought too. Delulu says Heuermann was described as looking like an ogre. That's what I always thought too. It looked like an ogre. Hey, Miss PJ, good to see you. Glad you could make it. We're just kind of chatting now. We went through everything that I had, and so if anybody else has anything, maybe for a few more minutes, anything, any case or anything you guys want to talk about, we can hang out for a few more minutes. But please do check out Miss PJ at Unscripted Chronicles. as always. Mustang has got the links in. Yeah, I see he's got the fight. Yeah, that's horrible. I mean, it had to be somebody that, I mean, just going from what the police said, had to be somebody that knew them. They said they were maybe looking for something because the house was ransacked. I don't know. Not good. So, and does anybody, I'm trying to think of any other cases that were in the news that I haven't checked up on lately for any updates. Go to my, oh shoot, they're on my phone. I can't check. Let me see. I'll tell you one thing we can do before we go. Hold on, give me a minute. I'm trying to type. We haven't shared any missing persons tonight, except for the ones that I share from Arkansas. Oh, actually, so on the trolley project, I always have a missing person of the week. And for this week, and I'll screen share it, is one from Memphis, Tennessee, Mortarius D'Antonio Settles. That name sounds familiar. They might have talked about him on our local news because I'm only about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Memphis. So we will share him for our missing person for the live stream. Let me make sure it shares. It'll take a minute for it to pop up. Okay, so this is Mortarius D'Antonio Settles. He's been missing since August 11th, 2010 from Memphis, Tennessee. He's classified as endangered missing. He's a black male, 27 years old when he went missing. So it's been 16 years. When he went missing, he was 6'3" tall, 190 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. It says he has a light mustache and goatee at the time of his disappearance, and his hair was I can't read. His hair was in braids. He has tattoos on his neck and both arms. His nicknames are Boney and Boney Head. He was last known to be wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans, and apparently there's a vehicle that also went missing. So Settles was last seen at Arene Manor Apartments at Chelsea and Tunica Streets in Memphis, Tennessee on August 11, 2010. He called his girlfriend, sounding upset, saying that he needed her key to get into their house so that he could get some people their money. According to a neighbor, a man named Bookie picked up Settles. Bookie had a firearm and seemed angry. After Settles got into the car, which was a burgundy Toyota Camry with Tennessee license plate 338 YKW, they drove off quickly. Settles has never been heard from again. After his disappearance, his family received tips that he had been the victim of a homicide, and his body, oh my Lord, trigger warning, his body had been fed to hogs. He disappeared on the day that his he disappeared on the day that his girlfriend was giving birth to his third daughter, and his family says that it is uncharacteristic of him not to contact his children. Foul play is suspected in this case, which remains unsolved. So if you do have any information, contact the Memphis PD at 901-638-4444. Let me see. I'm going to have to, because I'm not going to be able to spell that. I'm going to have to copy that and paste it into the browser. Oh, there it is. Copy. Okay. Let me stop sharing that and see if I can find anything else about this case. And then we will get out of here. Let's see what this is. This has any other information. No, it doesn't. There's a web sleuth thread. Not seeing anything. Let's see if any of these links work to these articles. I got so many tabs open right now. Nope. That link is broken. So, well, it's from 2012. Apparently, somebody emailed the Memphis PD wanting information, and they got an answer back and said, I'm the lieutenant in the MPD Missing Persons Bureau. Unfortunately, Mr. Settles has never been located. I speak with his mother on a weekly basis. We hope and pray always that he will be located so that his family can have some closure. And it says, if you have any further questions, please call me or email me. And that was Lieutenant Cindy Capps from the Memphis PD. Let's see if this link works. Nope. So here's an article from 2010, August 2010. A missing man's family went door to door Sunday looking for answers in his disappearance. Both police and family members suspect foul play in the search for 27-year-old Mortaria Settles, who was last seen Tuesday. Family members took matters into their own hands, braved excessive heat, and went door to door passing out flyers with Settles' photo on them. They passed out flyers at Aureen Manor Apartments at Chelsea and Tunica Streets in North Memphis. The apartments were the last place that Settles was seen. Charlie Faulkner, who is his aunt, said, quote, just give us some information so we can have closure, end quote. Nikita Stokes, who is Settles' his sister, says that he usually does stay in touch. She says, quote, it's not like him to not keep in contact with his family, his children. It's just not like him. That is not my brother, end quote. Shayna Jenkins gave the family a little information about Settles, who she called Bonyhead. She said, quote, he came to our house to use the phone. He told someone named Bookie to come pick him up. He parked here, and Bonyhead got in the car with him, and the man he got in the car with was really mad. They drove off really fast, and after that, nobody has seen or heard from him. Police said that Settles was last seen driving the 1998 Burgundy Toyota Camry with Tennessee tags 338YKW. So once again, if you know anything that could help investigators, please call the Missing Persons Department at 901-636-4479. Man. I might have to do a video on that one. So that was the missing person of the week listed on the Charlie Project. All right, let me get caught up in your comments one more time. We will get out of here unless you guys have anything else. Yep. Far says broken hearts, Mustang prayer. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure she is. Mustang asked PJ, she's still covering the protest. PJ says only a small amount. I'm moving back to true crime. Excellent. You're very welcome. Yep, I think we're going to get out of here now. It's been about 2 hours, so I'll be back Monday with our Missing Person Monday live stream. I'll have to figure out which state and city we're doing next. We did, what did we do this week? Baltimore, Maryland? Thank you, Miss Peggy, for being here. She says, always good to be here. We are always glad to have you here, Miss Peggy. So thank you to everybody who was here, everybody in chat, everybody who was lurking, everybody who's watching replay. Thank you so much. Please remember to do all the things, like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't, set your notification to all so you won't miss when we go live on Mondays for a Missing Person Monday, and then usually every other Friday, every other Wednesday, somewhere, you know, kind of loose, except for the Monday nights is the set one, and then it's kind of a looser format on like every other Friday, every other Wednesday. Hey, Doodles in Gray, thank you for being here. Miss Peggy says, take care, sweet dreams. So until Monday, and I'll try to, so today is Thursday. I'll try to, no, today's Wednesday, sorry. Thank you, Black Knight, for being here, and happy early birthday once again to Black Knight, who I believe is tomorrow is his birthday. So happy birthday once again. So Friday, I should have I think it's an unsolved pre-recorded video that I will get uploaded for you guys. Thank you, Miss PJ. So until then, everybody, trying to multitask. Hold on. Everybody be safe, be kind, just be good humans, take care of each other. I love you guys, and I will see you guys later.